This week on Cantina Chronicles, the Cantina Crew comes together to assemble a list of ready-made Star Wars hits, just waiting for a filmmaker to pluck and give life to. Drawing the type of crowd Star Wars fans are used to at the theaters, and exploring vital touchstone moments that open up exciting territory for the future. Come on in and join the discussion. Let's go! All right, welcome to another week of Cantina Chronicles. This is a weekly Cantina crawl across the Star Wars galaxy where we have delightful discourse about all things Star Wars, including news, notes, and theory, synthesizing all media. We contextualize your canon. We are your landing pad for all things Star Wars. Grab a seat and let's chop it up. Grant and Adam, Sagrona, guys, how are you doing? It's great to see you.
Sagrona Fima. So pumped for this episode, you guys. I am super excited. Last week we talked about pillars. And we talked about, the inner workings of sort of how creatives meet projects or come to develop projects at Lucasfilm. And we were talking about just that pipeline. And then we shot out this idea of like, what are the essential stories that we think, creatives would love to explore that we as fans all know are just sitting right there in the timeline and don't have someone at the helm. And so then we took it upon ourselves to write down a list of really cool essential story ideas to explore and share amongst each other. And I've just been super excited to do this episode.
Yeah, this will be fun. I think the way we talked about it, right, was kind of like, it seems like Lucasfilm has this idea that people have to come in with a full pitch set up, as opposed to which is fine. If you have a good pitch, that's great. But why not just get filmmakers that are going to make good films, and they can come in a room and here are a list of 20 things that you could possibly make a movie about, what interests you. Let's have a discussion about it.
In my back of my, I love how that was flipped. That it's here's a menu. It's welcome to Lucasfilm. We just think you're a great creator and we want you to create. I mean, I had Rick Famuyiwa in my head the whole time. It's in my mind, I'm an imaginary person, and it's Rick, I love your work and I need you to make a Star Wars. And as you're thinking about putting one together, here's some ideas that I think
his style and passion when it comes to Star Wars is unmatched. His Mando episodes, I think we talk about at least 3 times a year.
It's so good. It's just wild to me. He hasn't had a bigger footprint. I think it's, at this point, they need to bring it back in.
A lot of the behind the scenes commentary that we've heard has been the sort of the reverse, right? It's been that the story group hears a pitch from a filmmaker, and then they say, sure, we'll do everything we can to support that idea and that vision, because you are ultimately the visionary and you all are ultimately meeting this medium and this IP, and you want to tell this story, and we'll support you. And we were thinking, hey, let's do it in the complete opposite way, where it's why not just outline, like you said, a menu, Ben, here's a list of stories that we think are pressing. I think we wrote this down as an essential stories sort of list, these sort of pressing films that are low-hanging fruit that I think fans are pining for, but we just don't have anyone to execute them. And so we thought we'd just do a round table, sort of round robin, not so much a draft, but sort of a listing of our 5 ideas, and sort of start at 5 and go down to 1. And it'll be so fun to see what we all have at sort of our 3, 2, and 1 slot, because I think these are the big movies, big kind of tentpole ideas that we think really could lift up the brand, lift up the Star Wars fandom, and sort of reignite the spark, right? And so
they're due for a big swing, right? We've talked about this a lot lately too. It's they've been pussyfooting around really major things with the Sith, and it's just and everything's well, we might do something with it later. It's time to start cracking.
The time is now.
These stories. There are really compelling Star Wars stories out there that just haven't been told, and it's we don't need to rehash the Mandalorians again. We don't need to rehash the Rebellion era, and but we do. Some of my ideas are for both of those things.
Yeah,
but,
there's a couple of mine that are.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's like we can venture out a little bit,
absolutely,
and get away from the Skywalker.
You've said a Superman movie that was super successful and was all about cruelty versus kindness, and you could get those same sort of themes. A Sith story, right? It's the time is now.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably on all of our lists, but we will talk about that.
Yeah,
but how do you guys want to do this? Does anyone want to start off, or how are you guys feeling?
Really good idea. So were you thinking about a descending order list?
I'm thinking descending. Start at 5.
Okay. It's harder, but
basically 5 is your least essential of your essential stories.
Okay,
that you'd like. Say your Taika Waititi, or your Rick Famuyiwa has come into the room. And you're sort of like, here we have this, I know you're a visionary in your own right and you have lots of ideas, but like we really need to get these started because these are essentially like big, earth shattering sort of like, grandiose ideas for how to start a new saga, a kind of giant. And we also know that Bob Iger has sort of like started this mandate for films only, like movies only. And so if you have prestige like series ideas, I think that's fine. But I think going into these lists, I think these should ultimately be feature films, right? Like
that's what I was thinking when I was putting together. Yeah, movies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, man. Yeah. We talked about this, and I was just like, I'm just going to come up with a bunch of ideas. So now I'm reordering in my brain.
And how many did you come up with?
I think 16.
That's impressive.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was just like, all right, I'm like, well, I want to see that too. And I want to see that. And I don't know. It was a weird journey. I opened up, I have my Star Wars timelines.
I was going to look at that too, and I ran out of time.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could just do 10 in like ancient, I mean, we're talking 20,000 years of history.
Yeah. You can actually us when we start to pitch our ideas here.
Yeah.
Because, you have the actual timeline in front of you.
It would be my great joy to do that. Well, all right. Why don't we just figure out an order and get into this? And let's make some content.
I'll just RNG it. How's that feel for you guys?
Sure. Love that.
Okay.
Live my life by random number generator.
I got a 4.
All right.
Adam got an 8. Ben got a 9. It'll be Ben, Adam, me.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I love it. And my luck is holding here. This is a tough one though, because I have to figure out like, all right, what are my top 5? And a couple of these are kind of doubles where I'm like, actually, both of those ideas together could be great.
Yeah.
Why don't I? All right. I think so. Technically, this is it. I'm just gonna, because I did rank these. So, Dr. Aphra.
Yeah,
just right there.
We'll be hearing about that again later.
Yep.
I have her slightly higher than 5, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, she was a late one, and I was just like, well, come on, like she's amazing. You can do, anything across her whole time frame. Yeah, sorry, Adam. Of course you came.
But the exercise is not to do. What I think is what's going to be interesting is how many we repeat with each other, and then where the numbers fall. So I'm psyched that you have her on your top 5. That's awesome, and I think it's a good time to have that conversation. We don't like when I get to her, we don't have to talk about it again.
Yeah, now's the time to divulge where we have Dr. Aphra, because I do have Dr. Aphra.
I have her at number 2, but I'm biased.
I have her 4. I have her 4.
I think 4 and 5 is probably the right place, but my love for Dr. Aphra.
And these are essential stories. Like this is low hanging fruit. It's right there for the taking. Someone could just execute an incredible Dr. Aphra movie that is comical and adventurous, and Indiana Jones with a little bit more snap and comedy. Like,
I have rated R next to mine. Like,
sure, why not?
We got the droids,
Triple Zero,
droids.
Yep.
It needs to be a little gnarly.
Yeah, it can be gnarly and fun and scary and funky, and like it can do tonally things that haven't been done in Star Wars, but still have that kind of swashbuckling adventure feel to it. I mean, I talk about this all the time.
Gunn to come in for that, honestly.
That would be a good match for James Gunn. I say this a lot, but I just want to reiterate. Like I was literally talking about Dr. Aphra with Carly this week because I was doing this list together. I'm like, the way I always say is like, do you understand you have yet to meet your favorite Star Wars character? Like that's the way I talk about her all the time. Like you will eventually meet your favorite Star Wars character.
And so like doing this exercise too, there are some like unspoken rules of Lucasfilm like Disney Lucasfilm that I think we could probably start chipping away at. And one is like, well, they don't really repeat character. Like do characters in different mediums. So it's like a comic book character, in live action. They also don't do literal adaptations of pre-established content that was in a book or like, and I don't know, some of these things I'd love to just see. It's like, you know what? Drew Carpathian is a genius and he did this perfect. And James Lucino is a genius. And like, just do the adaptation of those books and, whatever.
Right. And there's been some violations of those rules already, right? They're willing to change those. Like, right.
Thrawn's one.
Black Chrysanthemum shows up in Book of Boba Fett. That's a comic book character, started as a comic book character. In
Afra, nonetheless, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly from Afra. And then, the other way around is they had the Ahsoka novel and then they had the Ahsoka Tales of the Jedi and which kind of contradicted each other a little bit. And so, they will, take some shots and change stuff around, which I'm okay with. They don't have to be, a slave to canon all the time. But I like an idea of a retelling that, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be word perfect, but there's a really great stories that you could adapt for the big screen for sure.
Yeah. You could in media res start with her getting spaced by Vader, that whole sequence, which was so cool in the comics.
Yeah. And that's a good point, Grant. I feel like that is an area where you could bring Vader back in a meaningful way, right? I feel like it would be essential to her story. It doesn't need to be there the entire time, but I love the trauma around Vader when it comes to Afra. Yeah.
I'm actually reading the Afra novelization right now.
I forgot that came out.
It bothers me that it's in the novel timeline when you open a novel and it's like in the front, and I'm like, I read all the comics, but I'm like, I want to read this because I feel like I have to, and I don't. It's a lot of it seems new, so I don't know, but I haven't read the comic in a long time either. So
I can't remember where that falls. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's a fun little read. So
that's a great pick. I love that. I love that it made all of our top 5 essential stories list. Like, where is this film? I cannot believe we're sort of jumping to other things before we do this wonderful character.
Yeah.
All right, Adam. What you got for 5?
Yeah. So my number 5, again, somewhat vague, but I think there's a movie in just the crime syndicates. I think we haven't touched the crime syndicates enough in terms of like the droid Gatra, the just even, I know they try to do a little bit in Book of Boba Fett, but I just think it needs a big screen telling of just a lot of the interweavings. Again, it was like hinted at in Solo, but I think just kind of a down and dirty kind of underworld, not necessarily the Lucas version of Underworlds, but like this idea of just the crime syndicates and the exploration of that and the kind of room.
I love that. Because they're sort of like ragtag, criminals, whereas you could do a Goodfellas basically in Star Wars, and that could be like the rise of someone within one of the syndicates and sort of like showing the culture and the inner workings of these a certain syndicate maybe we haven't explored yet, which could be really cool.
Sure, you can introduce another one. Yep,
it would flesh them out so much more too. I just feel like whenever we see the Pikes or we see Black Sun, or like they're just this like single brush stroke, mustache twirling, like evil drug crime syndicate. We got there was that awesome book about Kira rising up through Crimson Dawn. Crimson Rain, is that what it was called?
Yeah,
Crimson Rain. Yeah, we read that.
Climb.
We covered that on this show.
Climb. I thought it was like fall, but you're right. Crimson Climb. Yeah.
Right? And like that was an example of like, okay, this is how this place operates. Plus, you have Dryden Voss and Maul and all these interesting characters in there.
And like you said, great. You could take a very Goodfellas approach. You could follow a single character's climb right through the ranks, kind of introduction of it, interacting. I mean, when are we going to get a Prince Zeiser? Prince Zeiser? Like that is like, I want that weird bird.
Or have him be like the villain, right? Or
I think absolutely be a great villain. Yeah.
And this is like, he's a perfect example. Like, there's all these expanded universe super favorites like that are dying to be canonized, and I feel like they've been intentionally avoiding him because they want to do it right.
So that's the problem, is they're just waiting way too long. It's like, I mean, we may talk about this later with someone's, I don't know, but like bounty hunters, like, just come on, like, what are you waiting for? Just do it. Doesn't have to be perfect.
I do worry that they might explore all that stuff in Maul Shadow Lord. Like, I think like that might be where they do all that, which is great. I mean, the animation projects can do a lot of world building and do a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to like exploring entirely new sections of the galaxy. But this is something that deserves live action. I mean, if just of the elite gangster movies in, film history. It's like you could definitely do a Star Wars sort of rendition of one of those, and it can be really, really cool. And Solo, again, that felt more of like a heist movie. It didn't feel like we really understood the syndicates as much as we were. It was just a job taken, by Dryden Voss, who we barely knew. Who
was like the best thing in that movie. My favorite thing in the movie is like more Dryden Voss. But yeah, I mean, no, the crime syndicates were more like speed bumps along the way in that movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be great. And there's room for an evolution with the animation too. I just caught up on Love, Death, and Robots, and I mean, some of that's the most compelling, beautiful storytelling I've ever seen. And it's like, why can't there be a Star Wars animation that feels like Casino? Like when that, I think that's great. So they could do that and just elevate the dialogue a little bit. It's like, after Bad Batch, it's pretty clear that's not for kids anymore. So it's like, find another gear. Let's see.
Right. And you have major characters like Poe Dameron at the end of the sequel trilogy being named a Spice Runner and having this kind of shady past. And I'm just like, I'm wondering, why not just explore that stuff? It seems like this is always a part of Star Wars, or growing increasingly more popular in Star Wars, is to have like a certain underworld character in the mix. And why not just go delve deep into the underworld, not just in an animated show like Maul Shadow Lord, but in a
show us the shadiness, right? Like they keep talking about it. Like one of the favorite moments as a kid, and we talk about it a lot, is like Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi is just super weird, and like my kid brain is like, what's going on there? And like, just let's spend some more time there exploring that.
Yep.
I'm so surprised Solo didn't end with like a Jabba's laugh and then like credits, because like to me that would have been such a better hook to like seeing a Solo 2 or something. Okay. I love that idea, Adam. I think that's fantastic. Okay, 5 for me. This was tough because I had Afra and this idea sort of like switching spots over and over again, like until we just hit record. And I think for me, one of these top things, based on what you could do with the brand today, is you could basically take the Mandalorian text and you could cut it off to make the Mandalorian. You could go back and do the whole Tar Vizsla thing. So it's been mentioned a bunch of times. It's like at this point, they're really building out the lore of the Mandalorians, and they're really building out the knowledge of this Tar Vizsla character from prehistory. And I'm like, wow, this is great connective tissue to go backwards in time to explore a different era. And so I would and I really liked some of the old Mandalorian armor from the Tales of the Jedi comics, from the Republic games. I really liked when they were more of a kind of like a warring culture, and I really want to explore like maybe how they became, more technologically advanced with the jetpacks and all that sort of stuff, and maybe before that, and what this character was like, who was a Jedi and a Mandalorian. We might just be getting an echo of that in the Mandalorian timeline itself, with maybe Sabine or Bo-Katan becoming the Mandalore or something. But I would love to see a Tar Vizsla story. I would love to see what that was essentially, and it's a great connective tissue given he's been mentioned so many times.
And it would give context to whatever the current Return of the Mandalore was, is like sort of, and it's how it mirrors,
and it's big and huge and epic and wars and it's a Star War, right? It's
Yeah, it totally fits the mold. Yeah,
it's on my list. Somehow it didn't make it in the top 5. It probably should have, but that was one of the first ideas. I was like, well, that one obviously.
No, I think that makes so much sense. And what's so funny is I've talked about it before, but I think I just got to come out. I'm very biased against Mandalorians, and I have a very specific reason why, and I need to let it go.
Edgelord. We get Adam today.
No. This is gonna sound so. It gets back to being nerdy.
Wait, are you pro or anti-Mandalorian? I'm still
anti-Mandalorian, and here's why. Here's why. And this is a grudge. This is my own. This is my own weird mind. Is so way back when I'm trying to figure out what even year this was. But yeah, okay. So all the way back to 2004. So this is 20 years ago that I'm still holding this grudge.
Is this a Star Wars Galaxy related?
No. It is kind of another video game adjacent thing. So Republic Commando, that game came out, which was really good. But one of the things that really came out of love were the Republic Commando books were so good. They were really great. Karen Travers books were so good. Those are my favorite books reading.
Fantastic books.
Reading through it. And they canceled that series, decanonized that series because they wanted to do the Mandalorian stuff in the Clone Wars cartoon, because it conflicted with with this is also why I kind of sometimes don't like I still hold it against Dave Filoni because it's a Dave Filoni thing. I gotta let it go. It's 20 years. It doesn't matter. But for some reason I still just have this weird bias.
Wasn't it? It was, so that was canceled and then she never got that stuff back because she did. Wasn't it canceled because of like 1313 or something, and or the sale of Star Wars? Or
it was because it was canceled. It was canceled before. It was canceled like 2006 or 7. So it was right around. It was literally to do with the way they wanted to tell the story about the Mandalorians in the Clone Wars cartoon. Which is fine. Like, again, who cares? They're actually, and I really should let it go because I have it back there. They're releasing them in the canon legacy books, so it's not even like they like completely disown them. But the whole thing is, I'm wrong. That is a great idea for a movie, and yes, they should do it.
What's so cool is you can kind of strip out all like the like techno snare and like big symphonic stuff from the Mandalorian score, and really go back to that sort of like, you know, that tribal, you know, sound and really dig into that sound, like sonically and what that feels like. And then the Mandalorian culture could be a little bit more primitive and more martial and violent, right? And
brutal.
Brutal, right?
Game of Thrones, even.
It could be really interesting. And it's like a perfect platform with that character. I don't know what other character you could use essentially because no one else has been mentioned. So it's sort of that to me was low hanging fruit.
No, it's great. Yeah. I love that.
That's my 5. We're on 4.
On 4. Okay, so this is kind of a weird one, but it found the way to the top of my list, so I'm just going to do it. And this is actually 2 ideas I think I want to combine into one.
Sure.
Wayseeker Pathfinder. So like maybe a little bit older, but like just a story about a Jedi and then a Pathfinder, like a prospector sort of duo that are exploring the Outer Rim for the first time and finding new planets, and you know, but are really kind of out there on the edge of the galaxy, just experiencing new things for the first time. And I don't know. I think that's kind of an interesting story. I think it's timeless, even though like it will be anchored in a point of time, probably pre-High Republic. Yeah. You know, in that sort of 500, 400 BBY era. But just finding remarkable things in the galaxy, like crazy monsters, and just like, you know, going through. And I think it would be kind of fun to have a Wayseeker Jedi there, and then some like quirky prospector as part of it. Or like they're trying to like run away from each other, but they keep running into each other like in the galaxy for some reason. And why is that happening? And
the Force maybe drawing
the Force type of stuff. And I love that.
Like really kind of free jazz Star Wars, where you're just like immersed in the world doing exciting things, and I think it can be super arty and fun. And
that is cool.
Well, I don't know.
I like that idea a lot. What's interesting is like we learn, you know, in the first movie, right? Like Luke always talks about this is the, you know, if there's a bright center of the universe, we're the planet furthest from, which is one of my favorite lines. And but like you love that line, and you get the feel for him being a farm boy, but then suddenly he's embroiled in this giant like galactic thing, and it doesn't make, and then Tatooine keeps coming up and coming up and coming up, and boy, does Tatooine not feel like a remote planet by the time you get to it. So I like this idea of like, let's explore these unknown regions a little bit, these Outer Rim areas, and like what's the frontier actually like? I feel like we've never actually explored in live action anything like feeling like the frontier. A little bit in the Mandalorian, but still it doesn't quite feel the same. Yeah, so I love that idea.
And definitely like I love the idea. Well, I've said this multiple times, specifically like a story about Loden Greatstorm and his Padawan. That was in that short stories combination. And then the recent novel we just read, Wayseeker, actually, appropriately enough, where it's just Jedi communing through the living force, meeting people, empathizing, and helping them. That's it, you know? And I could watch that forever, and I think it's kind of, those are my favorite stories. So there it is.
Were you thinking this was more exploratory, sort of like a Dances with Wolves and the outer reaches of the galaxy, where there's kind of just maybe there's some friction and some skirmishes throughout the film, but it's more of like it's a lot of calm and a lot of observation and things like that. Like is it like that, or were you thinking there's a central mystery that sort of unlocks some sort of like core detail that's important to the lore of all we know about
probably something to the latter, because it's got like it can't just be a total like tone poem about like interactions, though I'd be okay with that. I don't want it
like
to
a
be
Legends of Luke Skywalker thing that we've always been.
yeah. I mean, I don't
desiring.
want it to just be like cozy core Star Wars, though. There's probably a place for that.
Sure.
Yeah, I can imagine it's sort of like as they're going deeper, they're sort of actually finding these planets are connected in ways they don't understand,
That's
and
cool.
don't know, and yeah, probably some truth will be revealed. But
interesting.
I'm sure there's some way you could write it in it. But I'm just like, just let a filmmaker play in space, and then just like everything's unknown, And
the concept of a way seeker is so cool too, right? Like,
cool.
that could even be the title of the film, and it writes it almost it does a lot of the lifting for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
cool.
I love that.
So it's kind of that's a weird one, but
no,
I love
weird
one.
one.
No, it's very cool.
I might be doing a weird one now as well. So this one's a somewhat of it can be general or specific, but I kind of my brain it started getting more specific the more I was thinking about it. But I think we need a droid story, like a story that is droid focused, like a movie that's droid focused. And I know everyone's talking about maybe Taika was going to do that. I don't know if that was his idea. Right. I don't think he ever said that. Just everyone.
I think I pitched that on our show.
Yeah, and I think a lot of I think it's just
buried into your guys' minds.
And I like that idea if he wants to do it. But I think what's powerful about telling a droid story, and we see it a little bit through like the Skywalker trilogy, is that droids last forever, theoretically. And so the more I thought about this is, what about Huyang? Like, what if you did an anthology series, like an anthology movie, right? Which I love anthology movies of Huyang, where you're just kind of telling like just episodes in his life, all the way from his very beginning, all the way up to, when we see him in The Mandalorian, of just this idea of this long-lived person that's experiencing, or this being that's experiencing all of, Jedi history, basically.
Adam, that was the first idea I wrote down, and then I immediately dropped it to the bottom so I love that you fleshed it out more, because I'm like, this is just too low hanging. But it's like you open the book and like the first thing in time is like Huyang created, and I'm like, well, I mean, he's the coolest character in Star Wars secretly, so yeah, I want more Huyang. But then it just like, as these other ideas, I'm like, wow, poor Huyang. Like, he's gonna be a bit character, I feel like, but that's my cynical side. But I love what you're saying, Adam. And you really can thrust him into the front and tell a compelling.
Yeah.
I think broadly speaking, like a droid movie is so cool. And I feel like even if it's not Huyang, like the idea of a droid being the central character of the story is very interesting to me. And I think that's cool, because on my list I have no movie that has a droid as the central character. Yet I think that could be hugely successful and get a lot of buy-in from a lot of people, because I think people love droids.
I think they do, and I think Solo did a good job of a lot of things. Of just like I always think back to how much of Lando crying over the death of. That's such a touching moment, and I just think L3. We see how much the droids mean in the Skywalker saga, but just something about like actually seeing a human love, a robot is really important. I think that then builds them to a level of being able to headline a story.
That's so great. I really like that idea. My 4 was Afra, so I don't know if you guys want me to start on 3 for us.
That might throw us off, which is weird. But
my 4 was Afra. We talked about it already. I think we got to get to Afra at some point.
It's my 2, so we get to 2. You'll just skip me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So get me. We'll go on
back
to 3.
Back to Ben, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I really should have been the last one in order, so I could sort of lie and fill in new stuff. But
we'll hear the rest of yours. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get the rest. Because this one, I have dates, guys.
Ooh, nice.
5,000 BBY, the origin of the Sith, and the beginning of the 1,000-Year War with the Jedi. This is 3, and there's dates to it. It's like the Sith were formed 5,000 BBY, which is like a little later than I thought. Like, we've talked a million times about, well, wouldn't there be splinter sects immediately once the Force like emerges, in the galaxy and recognized? But apparently the Sith as a formal organization was originated then, and immediately start causing problems for the Jedi and try taking over the galaxy. So that needs to happen.
It's shocking. Again, that hasn't, and it's funny. Like, I feel like if we ever do see the Mangold like First Jedi story, we are going to get a dark side user in that, and I think that's their cheat, right? Is that like, yes, there are plenty of people who use the dark side, but they didn't organize as a faction until the Sith. Like they learned to work together, which I think is really interesting, and I it actually kind of builds exactly into my number 3 as well. So ours are pretty equal in terms of. And we could use this to talk about both of ours. Is I was just thinking, we need to tell something during that Jedi Sith war era, and my thought process is, because again, I was trying to be very vague, but then my brain starts getting more and more specific.
Sure.
Like, how do you tell a story in that? And the one I thought, and it doesn't have to be this, it can be anything within the Jedi Sith War, is like I just kept thinking about Claudia Gray's Lost Stars novel, which is like one of the best novels of just like, what if you tell and Grant, you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier in the episode of just like, what if you tell a side-by-side Jedi Sith story, right? And have those characters interact with each other and actually have them maybe, I mean, if you want to get romantic, have them get romantically involved, right? You need a little romance or something, but some connection between these two characters. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're attached and they're always giving each other the benefit of the doubt, but they still follow their own paths in opposite directions.
Yep, and they're on the opposite sides. It's Romeo and Juliet. It's, it's a classic tale. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, for number 3, have 5,000 BDY written down. But maybe push the timeline a little bit to where in the Sith have captured Coruscant, the core of the galaxy, and are now reigning over the galaxy. So you have this stand-in for the Galactic Empire, but it's the Sith Empire, and sort of start your story right there. Like start right after the capture of Coruscant. Like I almost think that's the perfect starting point.
I love that
tale.
Yeah.
That is so funny. We all have that at 3.
Yeah,
that is hilarious.
I'd like to be shocked. I'm not.
No, but
I know I'm not.
We talk to each other a lot about this stuff. So
it's funny that the time is exactly the time.
It's really funny.
It's the exact same date, essentially.
Yeah,
exactly. But it shows the how fertile that time period is. And Grant, thinking of your story, it reminded me of like it's not necessarily this way, but I love the idea that you're talking about. Like starts with the fall of Coruscant, right? Like I love this idea. It just reminds me of Superman, right? That just came out. And I will
first
spoil.
Battle he lost, right?
Yes, like I love that the crawl in Superman is like one of the best things I've seen in a long time. Just the use of 3, 3, 3, 3. I was just like getting so goosebumps as that was happening in the theater, and I just love that idea of like
me too.
You open with, again, spoilers, but it's like the first 2 seconds of the movie. You haven't seen it. You open with Superman losing his first battle. And I love, like, similar with yours, you open with the fall of Coruscant. Like, this thing that we've just seen as, it's done. It's toast. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
And I love, like, the Dark Siders have taken over the heart of the galaxy. That to me, that's just so compelling. And the Jedi are on their back foot, right? Like, that's where we want them to be, right? And we don't want them to be ruling supreme from some temple at the center of the core worlds. Like we want them now to be like, wow, we got to go to old temples and get out of here and regain footing. Like that's, to me, that's so interesting.
And I love that idea of the Jedi, like this role reversal, right? It's instead of the Sith playing and it being in secret, you have the Jedi in secret.
Yeah, that'd be super fun. So I have this timelines book out, right? And this book came out like a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe 5 years ago.
I think I don't know.
But so this is the entry for it. It says, a dark side sect splinters from the Jedi, causing the formation of the Sith. This fracture is the genesis of a millennia-long rivalry, is how they describe it. So very vague. Yeah. But I mean, I think, I want what you want, Grant. Like straight up Sith ruling the galaxy would be amazing. Like, and for a millennia, for 1,000 years. So, that'd be really cool. Or it's the back and forth over those thousands of years. Because it's like, we had the High Republic and we had this fight and it lasted 3 years.
Yeah.
And it was a blip in the map. It's like, no, what if there's real strife for a long time? You could be telling stories within this time period for the rest of our life.
Oh, it could spawn so many different stories across all mediums, and it could just be a huge initiative, for the brand and sort of spark, life back into Star Wars in a huge way. I think a lot of people would dive in and love it.
Because like I've never played, I think it's called the Old Republic. It's like a RPG or whatever, but I've seen the cutscenes and they're just eye candy. And
they're amazing.
It's just straight up porn for Star Wars fans, really. It's just like Jedi and Sith clashing on star decks and in planets and just like insane OP like force powers and all that stuff. But it's like that's awesome. Like people want to see that. I want to see that story. And it's like very,
to me, it was pretty measured. Like it was overpowered. Like you do see a lot of like really big, maneuvers happening, but I like some acrobatics in lightsaber combat. I'd like it to be a little bit more, kinetic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's what they do. And they have like different styles of troopers and droids and all this other stuff that are flanking them. And it's like very stylized and very beautiful. And
it's very cool.
Yeah, that'll be great. All right. We're on the deuce. We're
number 2.
Yep.
Number 2.
All right. So this This one I have, like at first they were all Sith stories, and I was like, I have to like something else in there because there are still room. And this one is the Path of the Jedi, and that's a double meaning because I think it will be about the path, which is this sort of pulling together survivors, Jedi survivors. You get Cal Kestis in there. You get these other known characters. I mean, it's such a cool story, and it's just like there's so many cool cameos you could have in there.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Real O'Shea Jackson deserves a full shot.
Yeah,
Like
he's so good.
Yeah, he was fun.
But it would also be the Path of the Jedi. Sort of like their faith has never been more tested, and it's these Jedi like really going back to the origins of their faith and their belief, and you restore and reingratiate what it means to be a Jedi. And I think that would be compelling and fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love this idea of faith in a time of hopelessness, right? It's important. I mean, it speaks to current era very well. Like it's a very important story to be told. And no, it's just the second you said that, I was just thinking the same thing. Like this could be a giant ensemble cast, right? You could have so many of these kind of secondary characters, right? Given so much of their due, and you have, like you said, Cal Kestis. You can even have Kumail's character in there, right? You can have all these characters from Obi-Wan and build out to the games and others, right? Like it's
Asajj
Ventress. Yeah.
No, that's so cool. I like that because I think the Cal Kestis, as we know, the actor who plays the character was on like Gotham and other shows, right? He's just begging to be brought over into live action.
And it's photorealistic. If you've seen Cal Kestis, you've seen the actor Cameron Monaghan, I think his name is.
I think that's exactly his name.
He's starting on Shameless. He was great. He's a good actor.
What's so fun about that idea is that you're basically doing a fun sort of like rogue Jedi Han Solo story, but it's like Cal Kestis. It's like you get a Jedi as your main character instead of a Han Solo, which is a nice new flavor, right? And if maybe Solo didn't perform well, maybe this will perform really well, and it's a better way to sort of explore the roguish elements of the Star Wars archetype.
Yeah.
Right. Who's the Jedi that I can't remember his name. My brain's
Quinlan Vos.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, he allegedly was the start of it, I think, because he showed up in the recent Asajj Ventress Tales of the Underworld.
Yeah.
And and Quinlan Vos could lead a show.
Yeah, and name checked in Obi-Wan, right? I think his name's on the wall. Yeah, his buddy. And I think you bring in Ewan McGregor, and you can have Darth Vader in the show, and you can be like, it's a no brainer. Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah. Again,
Quinlan is very interesting.
Yeah, I love that. I love your list, Ben. I love both your lists because every time you say something like, well, yeah, that should have been on my list. Like, you know what I mean? Like every time that's not on my list. Like,
actually, I'm kind of mad I didn't put Quinlan Vos on my list.
Same.
I like Cal Kestis, but I almost think a Quinlan Vos movie could be really
I think you make him the lead of that.
Yeah. Because we don't know how, Survivor 3 is going to go, but I assume it's like him sort of connecting with the path. I hope the first scene is him cutting his blaster in half with a lightsaber, and like we don't have the blaster thing anymore, and he's going back to now he's a master again, and but he could be an ancillary, like a really fun ancillary character to have in there. Follow Quinlan and
but Marin and Cal feel a lot like Quinlan and Asajj. Like
it's very true.
There's definitely some parallels there.
Yeah.
So
Marin.
Marin is.
I just remembered they hook up in the last game. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's real sexy. Yeah. There's the cave. Yeah. Let's see. My number 2 is Dr. Aphra, so we can pass me. Yeah.
My number 2 is the movie that's already been rumored and is already been developed by multiple people, and lots of people have been taking attempts at writing the script, but that is the new Jedi Order film. I think. Yeah. I think the fact that we have not jumped into this yet is insane to me, because it's just. I don't know how we don't have a locked script at this point, because it's such a compelling fertile ground for a story. And I think we all want to see the beginnings of a temple, and we want to see temple culture, and we want to see Padawans in training, and we want to see someone like teach and guide Jedi in maybe a slightly nuanced way that's maybe slightly different from what we've seen before.
And not just teach one singular Jedi whose hope is to save the entire galaxy, just teach a ton of Jedi whose hope is to, make a better world. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing on this. I thought I looked at this as well, and I think this is a great pull, Grant, because you're really, I think, I don't want to say double tap. You're really highlighting, I think, you're right. Like this movie that's just keeps getting kicked down the line,
pushed. Yeah.
And it is just like super important. But I happen to notice in the Timelines book, they have a time for it. It's 50 ABY.
Yeah, I wrote down 55 ABY next to that. Yeah.
So that would be 55. I think like 34 is when Rise of Skywalker happens.
Okay.
Actually, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's it. So like this would have been 15 years after, so 20 years, whatever. But,
yeah. So maybe you don't do the full Damon Lindelof make Rey like 85 years old or whatever he was planning. Maybe she's like middle aged. You know what I mean? And it's just like she's got a lot of time and she's put in a lot of time into the temple.
I will also say this: they will 100% violate that timeline book to fit that part. They're not beholden to that at all. Like the thing that's just wild to that too is like you got to imagine they're excited about creating new like the thing that's so exciting about that to me is like there's nothing, we don't know anything past that, right? Like they can do whatever they want, they can go wherever they want, they're not hemmed in by anything. Even we're talking about like Jedi Sith War, which is great storytelling. We know how that story ends. It has to end in one way. Any of these other stories we're telling have to end in one way. We have no idea where this is going, and like how are they not just grasping onto that idea of being able to tell something new and not being hemmed in?
I wouldn't be fully satisfied if it's like they are hinted at and the new Rey's New Order is sort of hinted at and brought in as a sort of cameo or an after credit scene or an ending for Starfighter or something where she gives Ryan Gosling a medal. Like that wouldn't be satisfying.
I'd be actively upset if that's how they do it. Yeah.
Right. It would be kind of upsetting. Yeah.
But what would be cool, Grant, I think, is that there's still room for a lot of storytelling leading up to that formation of the Order, and you can still get Rey cameos, but she's just she has this weird agenda doing other things.
I don't want it. I don't want any teases, hints.
I agree.
Cameos,
Don't even talk about it.
It's her story, and it's like done in a really grandiose, sort of like epic, operatic way.
But if it's that is going to happen 20 years after Rise,
it would just feel like a theme park ride if she like popped in a hollow or something with us anything beforehand. It would just feel.
You feel like Maz Kanata showing up in Last Jedi?
Last Jedi, yeah. It would feel like it's like mid jetpack fight. Like I don't know. To me it just would feel like short shrift for what I think's the most interesting thing that they could be doing currently.
What if that happened after we've established what the new Jedi Order is like? And so we kind of
I think it's fine after that. After that, free game, she can pop up and as like guiding people and blessing people with the Force, before missions and stuff. Like that's fine after that film, but before that film it would feel like, what are we doing? Like that's the movie I want to watch. I want to watch her. I want to watch that story.
I'd love for her to go on a mission, like to do something like that.
I think that's the movie, right? The movie is some sort of big mission, right? A war that's going to break out, and how do we stop it from happening, right? It's like it has to be a Star War.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, even if it was like a Starfighter tier thing, if she came in to like, they happen across her and she jumps in on a battle, she's not the main POV. We don't really get a lot of context for her. But
I wouldn't like that though if it happened before, like a proper.
Yeah, it's kind of where I feel. But Grant, you just said something really, really interesting that I was thinking about. Is like that is a new way to tell a Star Wars story. Is actually have a person prevent a war from happening. Right.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that really interesting? That's how that, like, everyone's expecting a war and it'd be kind of the ultimate win for Rey and the ultimate Jedi move. Actually, all we've seen in 3 eras is just war breaking out, and finally a Jedi stops it from actually happening. Yeah.
But then doesn't, because we need a Star Wars.
Well, I mean, there'll still be fights and stuff, right? Like battles and skirmishes, but actually stops the giant, galactic wide war from happening. There'll be plenty of pew pews. Don't worry about
like
it.
Slightly more successful than Obi-Wan, like investigating a cloning facility and just reporting back instead of being like, this could end and this could start a war.
Yeah.
I would that new Jedi Order film, just that new Jedi temple, like exploring that whole thing. I think that's just like, I cannot believe we're not doing that right now. Like I can't believe that's not coming out with the you have the DCU starting off, you have Marvel kicking into a new phase, and Star Wars needs to do something big, and I just worry about all these.
It's not for a lack of trying, and I this is yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where it's like we have an idea, now we need the creator to make it come through, and they just haven't found the right chemistry to make it happen. I mean, this was going to be the first movie.
Yeah, it was. Now it's going to be like the third or fourth, maybe.
Yeah, which makes me hopeful, but also worried at the same time. It's like they're taking their time to make this movie right, but at the same time, as more time goes on, it's going to get marginalized. I feel. But I have enough to worry about without this movie.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, my biggest fear is that The Mandalorian and Starfighter are giant, humongous hits, because I feel like that motivates them not to tell.
Right, they wouldn't want to do that if it's. Yeah, it's funny because I am seeing trends where things are making a lot of money. I won't mention any movies, directly, but it is what is it? It's the 27th today, so you can guess what's out right now. But there are movies that are making lots of money right now, but the data is saying make more of this, but I don't think you're really creating powerful art that is life-changing or inspiring to people, and I feel like that's a huge problem. And so I think when we follow the data, it's problematic at times. And so I think
data's not art. Yeah. No.
Well put, Grant.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. All right, my number one idea, and this just ties right back into the meat of the conversation we had at the end of last week's pod. When we
are we all going to have same number one? Let's see.
Darth Bane in the role too. I don't know. I was really excited that's going to be the thing, but because it was. I mean, and I think it was YouTube.
Can you put the date on that, just so I want to see where my number is right here?
Do I have the date on it? I didn't. I just.
You don't. Okay.
I have it. I have it right here. Oh no, I don't have it. It's not in the timelines.
That's wild.
Okay,
That's
wild. I have 1,000 BBY.
Yeah, that might have been old. Is that old? Maybe old EU.
Is that old at this point?
That makes perfect.
That's accurate.
Sense.
It does make sense. Yeah.
Oh, 1,000 BBY. Yeah, that makes sense because there's still like a Sith
1,000
Sith army remnant.
Mostly defeated. BBY. Yeah.
You could actually do a 4,000 BBY if you wanted to be they're losing the war and
the end of the Sith essentially is right. That's what we're talking about.
That's
right?
what I had origins of the rule of two, end of Sith. Yeah,
right.
Because that's in the books. Yeah, in the books, he's the coup d'etat that sort of ends the Sith.
Yeah,
and or ends the legions and cuts it down to 2. But yeah, I mean, the main point is it's just it's the perfect time stamp that just it's okay, Sith exists. We know there's these legions and these wars, and we're like, what's that? And then it sets up everything that we've had, the Skywalker saga.
Always 2 there are.
Plagueis, that just has to be, and it's canon as heck, and it just needs to be, it's just a good glowing beacon for it. So I'll let you guys, I guess, go around and say the same. Say your version of what I just said.
Exactly same. I had origins of the rule of 2.
Yeah. And it I mean, just you can use the Carpathian stuff, make Carpathian, give him a producer credit, and but write it in your own way with your own characters, more detailed, whatever, and it could be a companion piece. And I mean, I know this, how they re-release these novels now and be I forget the terms for the re-release novels. I feel like that's them being wink, nod, this probably happened, or what happened is pretty close to this, but I hope that's not the end of the story. I think we need to see this in a feature film.
Yeah, 100%.
Or
it
3.
Just seems like low-hanging fruit, wild to me that isn't at least in development. Yeah.
I would like them to deviate from the Carpathian books, although I love those books. I think they're incredible. And I think Darth Bane's story should stay close to what it is in those books, starting out as a kind of in the mining tunnels and sort of getting into fights and living a brutal existence to sort of embrace the Sith ideals.
Yeah. No, I have that same memory of that book of I always think about that opening. For some reason, that mine scene, that whole mining part of that book just lives in my brain constantly. I'm always thinking about it.
Yeah, just really stunning. And especially the beginning of it is what's sort of how he sort of goes on that fever dream, and he's lost in the desert, and how he escapes the battle and all that stuff. So it'd be great.
Yeah.
No, I really want it to maybe closely follow what Bane does, but I do want it to change up sort of the end of the Sith, the final battle between the Sith and the Jedi, do something completely new that we can't predict, that's nothing like the Jedi v Sith comics or the Darth Bane novels, like something that we just haven't seen before. Totally change that up.
Yeah. Yep. No, agreed. And I don't want it to be like it's the last battle and then finger twirling at the end, Darth Bane, right? Like I want it to be a Darth Bane. So it's like Act 1 is the end of the Sith. Act 2 is Darth Bane coming away from that, and Act 3 is the rule of 2, like developing the rule of 2 or something. Like,
and those preparation books are told from the Darth Bane point POV. I would almost want him not to be the POV character. I would almost want him to be like a secondary or character that just almost like when he starts coming into the fold, you're like, is this who we think it is? You know what I mean? Like it really has like this surprise factor.
Yeah, I like that.
I think we know he's the one who ends up on top at the end, and we know he's the one who starts this rule of 2. Let's not focus on him until we need to, because there's probably lots of other fun things we can do to sort of make him more of a surprise or make him a reveal, right? That could be cool.
Yeah. So, was there any more organizing you wanted to do about these? We've now released all.
Oh my! I just can't. We all have the same number 1, which is so fun to know.
That's telling.
But us, and we had the same number 3, which was crazy.
Yep.
So 3 and 1 were complete overlaps between all 3 of us.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's because we are potting forever and we all kind of have these sort of
probably a little bit, but I think it's also just the fact that these are compelling stories.
Very compelling. Yeah. And they're just sitting right there. But well, I know some of us came up with some extra ideas, some outliers. Do we want to share some of the honorable mentions?
Yeah.
What else? Do you guys have some stuff on the cutting room floor that you?
I had like one other, and mine was either Thrawn / Chiss, which is kind of pretty low on the list. But I'm like, if we're going to move away from it always being the Sith, we need another major antagonist in this galaxy, right? So, yeah.
Which was what it felt like they were trying to do. Is like the big bad was going to be whoever the Chiss were battling in secret, sort of like eat the Chiss and like come into the galaxy, and whether it's the Grisk, I think is who they were.
It's the Grisk in the new EU, and it was the Yuzan Vong in the old EU.
Right. Yeah. So like the Grisk like were being set up as this thing, and then it was a nothing burger. Just like okay. Didn't we get a couple Grisk appearances in like some Aftermath books and like
something like that?
In that era,
they were almost too mysterious. I like mystery in Star Wars, but they were almost so mysterious that I couldn't even like form an image of them.
I had no idea what they looked like. I had no idea what they're doing.
Were they like invisible too? Didn't they have like cloaking? So it's like
something like that. He just wanted to do Yuzan Vong without saying Yuzan Vong, and they couldn't do it. And so
there is a Yuzan Vong like mentioned in those books, or like some sort of
it's like hinted at.
They see it's like a hint. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know they're kind of maligned. I would actually might add that onto a list too. I don't mind. The Yuzan Vong, if used right, could be a really powerful.
Can I?
Really Star Trek to me, and more than Star Wars.
Sometimes, I feel that
just, in my mind. That's how.
Yeah.
Can I hitch onto that idea real quick? I feel like I like the Yuzan Vong. I like the idea of people who are like void of the Force and negate the Force and stuff like that. That is like very interesting to me. It seems like a big obstacle and a challenge for Force users, right? But there's really no precedent for them to just pop in out of nowhere. We don't really have any mentions of this so far in the lore, and so I was thinking like there are mentions of an extragalactic threat in the lore that are canon. And that's when Luthen Rail hands the Sky Kyber to Cassian Andor and says, "There's a Sky Kyber from when the Rakatan invaders like came to the galaxy." And I was just like, "Tell me more." And I was so I think the Rakatan invaders and whatever that was could replace Yuzan Vong and give you the Starforge, give you Darth Revan, maybe be paired with the 5000 BBY story. There's a lot you could do with that. Mention, right? Just that simple mention that is now canon, right? And that just means that the story group approves and loves the Knights of the Old Republic games just as much as we do, and sort of have brought the Rakatan Empire into the canon, which is cool.
And popular is popular. People love those games. It's like it's print money. That's what we're trying to do here.
And they played around with extra galactic stuff in Ahsoka season 1. Remember, like that's half that series takes place outside of the galaxy. So, it's great. Like
I think there's old galaxy maps too. I think from the old Galaxy or Atlas books that have a whole Rakatan sector of space, and huge swaths of the galaxy were captured and controlled by the Rakatan Empire.
There you go. I love it. Yeah.
Grant, did you have any
I have visions, I have dreams of a sort of far-flung future story where you got gray-haired Chewbacca, rusted out C-3PO, and a kid, right? Like, it just, to me, I'm just like, I can't. To me, that would just be so far removed from what we know that it would feel very fresh and be very much like a New Hope.
Yeah. It's a good way to kind of restart it, right, and remove it. In some ways, even though you're connecting it to the old one, it does give you freedom to do a lot of stuff.
I was thinking I was thinking you have a choice between like R2, BB-8, C-3PO, but I was like, I would like to retire R2 and BB-8 and just keep C-3PO.
Yeah,
because to me, there's something about C-3PO that
he's the storyteller.
He's the storyteller. He's the raconteur, right? It's just, to me, there's something to him that is interesting.
Yeah, I like that. It would be another thing where I'd hope they'd be vague about the future and the past.
Sure.
I would, again, if it's like, oh no, now we know where the story's going again. It's like, it would be tough to dig around that.
Yeah.
But yes, it would be fresh and fun. Anything else, Grant? Did you have another one?
You guys are gonna hate me. Baylor Valance, like action comedy romp kind of like movie where it's just heightened action with Baylor Valance as sort of the main character.
Yeah, I do hate you.
Yep, that's the worst.
But I do like your take on him. So I he bugs me quite a bit, and I think a lot of what bugs me about him is how he's portrayed in the comics and used in the comics. But I think there's a way, definitely, to take that character and make him somewhat usable.
Yeah. I mean, he's usable. He's just not likable. No. Unless he really has some weird turn where he just stops being such a whiny punk.
That's the thing. Is like, I think, and Grant, I want to hear your take on him, but I think there's a way to make him like,
I think he'd be like a Peacemaker or a Deadpool character. Essentially, you could make it a little bit more comedic. He could die 100 times in the movie. It's like,
right. Yeah. Okay.
There's a way to do it funny. Honestly, it's kind of more.
By the end, he's all just a machine. Like, just keeps losing parts of himself, like throughout the entirety of it. Yeah.
We have talked about this because I think if you take it from like our POV, where it's like, he's like anti-hero, just like kind of the butt of the joke. Like the joke is just
a bit ridiculous.
As much as everyone wants Byler to die, he just won't.
I think he's a little too serious in the comics, and I would just like to lighten that up a little bit, right? And then make him more of a Deadpool character and make it like, he did have his time in like the Naval Academy for the Empire, but like that was a long time ago, and he's been through so many adventures, and now he's like constantly being ripped apart. Like I would love that.
I like it.
Word.
As much as I can like it.
As long as you allow yourself.
What else do you guys got? Ben, I know Ben has like 7.
Yeah, Ben has a ton. I'm out. What you got, Ben?
Well, that's why I wanted to let you go in case there was like, we get rid of my duplicates here, because I assumed there'd be overlap. One was funny, which is pretty high up there for me. I didn't pick it because it's like allegedly in production, but Grant sort of, by actually tapping on New Jedi Order, kind of did that in a smart way, which I had stuck to my guns. But the Calrissian Chronicles, Lando movie.
I didn't choose that as well because I did hear rumblings that Donald Glover is actually writing it. They're going to make it, and I think it's going to be filmed. Honestly, it sounds like, but it could be.
I think when you have someone like Donald Glover working on it, it's gonna happen, right? Yeah.
The one that y'all didn't pick, and I'm a little surprised, was this was 2 ideas, but I'm going to make them one. The Baresh Vow, the story of Baresh Sylvan, and and then you can add in Porter Engle. But I was thinking like really just Baresh's like life POV would be fascinating. But
dude, she's like my favorite character from the Republic.
I know.
I love that idea.
I know, and I wanted to make sure I hit the sort of low hanging fruit because we talked about this when the High Republic ended. Like there was some great ideas there, and that was definitely the best one. I mean, the Blade of Bordada is like the coolest character ever, and then Baresh is like so fascinating. So I don't know, they're apart for so long that I don't know if they could be in the same movie, but maybe it is them finding each other again and recounting their tales of where they went. Or maybe
that is the untold. That's the untold area, right? Of that story, right?
Yeah.
Encountering each other again.
What if it was a duology and it like came out and you get Baresh and then you get Porter and and then maybe there's a third movie where they come back together, and that's them moving forward.
That could be great. That could be like a Mizuguchi or Kurosawa thing where it's like two samurai that are sort of like separated across time and space for a while and come back together or something. Like,
yeah. Because that's kind of what happened, and they went on very different paths. It was like Porter Engle became like the ultimate warrior, and Baresh like ultimately was being the ultimate pacifist. So it's sort of
which makes the third movie compelling, right? Because they'll come back together, but have gone in so different directions. How do they come back? How do they connect again?
Yeah, and I feel like it would actually be really sweet and organic because they just like really just love each other as family, chosen family. So that one was here. I went through a period this afternoon where I was going to make all my like movie pitches like 70s adult film titles.
Nice. What was this one called?
Hito Damask does Coruscant.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Darth Plagueis story. We were hinting at it. We've talked about it a lot. It would be cool, but like really the Coruscant, like the Hito Damask stuff is like what's really going to be super fire. And then you get the other side of it as well. And it's like this, Leslie Headland was probably writing this story or has a sketch of the story somewhere.
I'm sure.
So that was one of them. Here's another one. Mommen's masterpiece.
Earth Mommen. All right.
You want to do the Mommen tale? I love it.
I love me a Mommen. I love Mommen.
Or
just
just
my favorites.
Mommen.
Yeah.
Just would be like log
with it phonetically spelled out so everyone knows it's actually Mommen.
Yeah. MOMMIN apostrophe is kind of in my head, but Darth Momin, if you're boring, he actually has a fascinating.
I find it interesting.
Like he's a sick artist with force ability, and then he gets punished for being sick, and then he comes back and creates a city killer weapon. But he's like discovered immortality, which they're all trying to do. He's a sassy little bee. And he's funny. And it's art where it's like you get like the crazy artist, I think is
like Pollock, but evil.
Also very reminiscent of like the Hannibal TV show, right? Where like there would always be the artistic like killing scenes. And posing of body parts.
Oddly, I think I want to take it down a notch. I want this one to be the rated R. But a lot of alluded to violence. But I think, like, I don't want it to be Silence of the Lambs. Like, I think it should be a little
more charming and funny and kind of like.
I think Mommen's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it campy, like in a good way, like good. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but there's something there. He has a very long,
very fascinating history.
And it's very interesting, and it's
a different, like you said, a very different way to tell us this story.
But they literally call his weapon Mommen's masterpiece, which is kind of fun. So maybe that's a duology too, but because his life's so long. But I also had Tar Vizsla. I had Dawn of the Republic as opposed to Dawn of the Jedi.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Like, I mean, there's something there, right? Like the galaxy being like we're stronger together.
Yeah, right. That feels a little Star Trekky to me, but it's true. But it's not. It's not a bad. That doesn't. I don't say that as a Star Trek fan. That's not necessarily an insult, but it is very like having the worlds come together is interesting. There's definitely fertile ground there for sure.
Yeah, because those sages of the Duarte that are in like Palpatine's office that were sort of like foundational, members of the Republic, right? And whatever that means, right? And why are they in his office? And why does he? Is there a darkness to that? Is there some secret dark side agenda that's always been built into the Republic from the very beginning? There's a lot you could do.
Then it'll be easier to control. Like that. Yeah, that could be, not
levers
the establishment, but
sure.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, because that's why I brought it to you guys, because it wasn't a very well formed idea, but I'm just like, there's something there.
There's something there for sure.
It is funny that none of us did the Dawn of the Force or the Dawn of the Jedi. Like none of us have that on our list. And we know it's in production. We know it's
if it would have been if it wasn't in production for me.
Jedi Order is in production or in development, right? But it's like,
I don't know if it would have been on my list.
I feel like we could have done the Dawn of the Force or Dawn of the Jedi easily on our list because it is very nebulous, and I know James Mangold's jumping into like a swamp thing and like other things as well.
But that man makes movies fast. I'm shocked like how fast he makes movies, and like a lot of them are good and some of them aren't. But but more hits than misses for sure.
No, he's great.
I like his style quite a bit. But I was gonna say it's just like it's one of those things where I don't know, and I like the fact that he's taking that swing. I trust him with it. I just part of me is always like I don't know if I want that story. Like I hope it's very mysterious and whatever. But like the last thing I want is explanation in Star Wars sometimes, you know. But we'll see. It depends how it's told.
I just think it can be so nebulous and so
aimless almost, right? Or not aimless, but just
esoteric. Nebulous. It's like discovering the Force.
Yeah,
like it should be a really it doesn't have to pertain to anything. Like it's
Star Wars works so much better when you don't know what people are talking about. Like the Clone Wars was fascinating to me as a kid because I was like, what happened? When?
Yep.
Like I was just blown away.
A ton of Jedi clones running around killing each other. That was my thought process. And not knowing and just having those conversations on the playground was one of the funnest things. And then and then we saw what it was.
I mean, the weird paradox is like primitive space travelers.
Yeah.
And you know, like how are you going to represent that? Like while still keeping kind of the Star Wars aesthetic, but I don't know. But there's a lot of fertile ground for fun stories like what do droids do what they do? Like are they autonomous then, or are they still kind of just machines? Like, you know, artificial intelligence doesn't really exist yet, or so what are they doing? Because it felt like that the droids were pretty primitive even in the early High Republic, in that sort of phase 2 era. They were still like, you know, that I
think that movie has an issue of seeming a little bit too much like Dune, essentially, where there's like there's like something that's like the Jedi and the Sith, but it's not, and it's like a Church of the Force type thing, and it's like then the sects begin from that, and it's like I just think we're jumping into like Dune territory at that.
It's very tricky.
A great idea.
You know, that's probably what they're thinking about, and they're probably thinking the opposite way, which is
probably looking at the numbers and being like, well, how can we get our own Dune or something?
But no, I mean, I imagine it is even before that, sort of like low camera shot in the woods and the wind blows, but does something and then like there's actually like the Force just fabricates into the world, and there's some sort of like way, a camera trick you can do to show that the Force exists, and then you follow some compelling characters and they become Force wielders, and what does that do? And like really, I mean, that's how I kind of imagined it, just like really small movie really on some planet somewhere, and then maybe by the end of it they realize there's
it feels so muddled right now because like in the Clone Wars we get the Mortis arc, and then at the end of the Clone Wars, or I guess in the end of what season was it, 6 or season 6 I think, where Yoda meets the Force priestesses, and it's like who are they? They seem like sort of primeval form of the Force in some way that is yet to be explored or understood. And I feel like
that would be the weirdest
and then
thing.
The Force is like whispers in the sequel trilogy. Like I'm trying to pin down like really what is the Force, but I feel like there's so many different interpretations of it, and I think that's fine. I almost like the different interpretations versus actually going back and being like, oh, here's the Force priestesses, here's where the Mortis stuff comes from, and here's where this comes from, and like let's tie it all together. Like I don't want anything to be tied together.
The more like
strange.
One of my favorite things in the good.
No, I just I'm interrupting, but I can't help myself. But I think it would be very Star Wars to have gods appear and be like, we're giving you a gift, like use it wisely, and like that's it, and like walk away. And it doesn't have to be the Mortis gods. It could be those Force priestesses, or like a weird analog or something sort of mysterious, but it just sort of like happens. But I mean, like that's like a very Greek, you know, myth tale that could like, you know, actually be what happens. That would be wild.
It's interesting. I almost picture it similar to what you were saying earlier, in almost like a James Mangold-y way of just like, you know, it's just the thing that we all connect with, or a lot of our generation connected with in Empire Strikes Back, to the point where all of us as kids tried to just move things with our hands, right? Like just did that, of just like someone doing that, right? In a moment of crisis, just reaching out for something in desperation, and it coming to their hand and realizing there's something there, right? Like that's almost how I see the discovery of the Force, of just like someone not realizing that they could do it. Similar to Luke, right? It's just a Luke moment of just not, you know, there's no reason he needed to. If you think about from the original like storytelling of the movies, there's no reason Luke should have reached out to that lightsaber and have it come to him. There's nothing that happens in episode 4 that would tell him that the Force would allow him to do that, right? That was a feeling.
Was genius to me.
He had a feeling.
It was so cool.
Yeah. He just had a feeling that would work, right? And just the idea is just build on that. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of directions you can go. I think Grant, you said at one point we talked about this being a very religious movie, like feeling like the foundations of a religion, or something like that. And
I think there might be some sort of faction that is pre-Jedi, pre-Sith. Like if you're going to do this story, it's almost like I wonder if there's something that's like, oh, you're touched by the Force, or you're gifted with the Force. Like someone tells you have the voice or whatever. If it's like the Bene Gesserit or something like you have the talent and the ability to do these things, but it's yet to be explored, and maybe there's a stigma against it at the time. Maybe there's something that's like, don't go down that path, or don't even develop these powers.
Yeah, they're seen as witches or something.
Right, something like that. Yeah, so I just worry about it falling into a new category of space fantasy that I kind of don't think Star Wars ever was. Essentially, I just worry about like big, huge architecture and gowns and like a kind of like a new take on all of that, which was like I don't know if that's Star Wars to me. Like
it's what we've been talking about forever. It's the riskiest one of all the ones they announced, and it's so many ways it could go wrong. And there's ways it could go right, but it is tricky, man.
And I think like you pin down with that storytelling too. Like you almost have to have the person find a kyber crystal that's like calling to them and build that first lightsaber. Like you almost have to do that.
Yeah,
which I'm like, that's kind of like that's cool, but at the same time, I'm like, then you have to put in all these side characters that are like some laser technician who's learning how to like design lasers with kyber crystals that connects to the lightsaber. And like you have to like put all this junk together to kind of like make the lightsaber feel like a rational thing to design and build for this first Jedi, right? And it's like, I don't know if that's what it's all about. I don't know what the other stuff is.
I mean, you could be born of like the kyber itself, and that's sort of, they discover kyber, and along with it, they sort of release the Force, and
or there's maybe there's already like a worship of the kyber, right? And then the Jedi and the Sith come after whatever group is worshiping the kyber, right? That's almost like, and I'm like, but I just think we don't need any of that explained. It's almost like I almost don't. I can see how you could do something around that, but I just don't need it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
right. I didn't get an adult film name for this one, but Aslan Rel finds the Sith. So this would be another like little point in the bullet point in the Sith timeline that we can point to and be like, at this point, these are the Sith lords that Aslan Rel finds. And
drives me nuts that they're not doing that.
Right, and we talked about
Sith are. Yeah. Why does it matter? You can change it. They could have been a Sith for 3 years. It doesn't just because you're saying at this moment this is the Sith doesn't mean that they lasted for hundreds of years. Sorry.
Yeah, it's Darth Tom and Darth Machine. Like I don't.
I thought Aslan was going to report to a Sith the entire time I was reading. I know. I thought he was going to eventually be like my master and kneel before something out there in the wild of space.
There are two Sith wandering around during that entire period, and they're not interested at all or engaged at all or doing anything at all with this.
The Republic's never been weaker.
Yep.
It's like it's ripe for infiltration. If you were scheming at all, you would be like, that's when you'd attack. I mean, that would have been wild. Out of left field, there's just like a Sith attack that like comes in with some weapon or a small army or just like two rogue assassins like in Coruscant.
I also thought
like funny. That'd be wild, but that would make so much sense.
And the accolade showed us how you can do that, right, and not violate this idea that we haven't seen the Sith for a millennia, right? It's like, dude, because I remember when we saw the preview, I'm like, I don't know how this works. He's going to have to kill them all, or they're going to be some weird trickery. And no, he just killed them all, them all, and that's what you'd have to do. Is you'd have to leave them kind of, you can tell that story. It's just not
and Lucino did it really well too, and whoever did the mall things, it's just sort of like they're just really selective about when they strike and they cover their tracks. And like
exactly.
And it was all about Jedi keeping secrets, and Vernestra Rose going to want to keep her failed Padawan a secret, right? That's
Then the next one I have is Sith 2, The Revenge. This is like a far future one, but it's ultimately like what you said, Grant. I think it's sort of like, but the other side of the coin, like, what is the dark side doing now? What is the new Jedi Order fighting against? What, I mean, are they mall cops, or are they like, defending the nature of the Force from dark side force wielders. Like whatever the next generation of the Sith is, like I'm interested in that.
You got to have
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Adam.
I was gonna. You have to have a student that falls and restarts the Sith, right? Like, you feel like that's gotta.
It's not my favorite storyline, but yes, it's right there.
Yeah. I think it'll be. I think they might delve even darker than they ever have before in the future. Really create a starker contrast where, like, if like whatever they're doing in Starfighter, whoever they're fighting there, if they're the sort of remnant empire, I don't think they'll be an empire. I think they'll be called Sith proper. I think like the Sith will be the new thing that we just call the people in the future, the bad guys in the future, because I think Exegol, after seeing Exegol and how just like hellish that environment was, and like all the acolytes of the Beyond, like I was just like, the acolytes of the Beyond is a fascinating idea too. Like I almost think like you could do so much about the Sith being at the edges of the galaxy, being beyond known space, and being this mysterious foe that's like incredibly dark and demonic. And there's a lot of like sort of like Dark Lord sort of like stylings to a lot of the characters, not just like the big bad villains, but also like the infantry and like the other characters, right? I think like the whole group could be shrouded in dark robes and really pile on the dark war paint and stuff.
That'd be sick. So there's something there. The next one was the Chiss, so that was said. Next one was Professor Huyang's origin story. And my last one, actually, this one I threw in there at the end, would be an adaptation of Aftermath, which is that's a dark horse for real, but I love those stories. It's a really interesting time. They're really fascinating characters. You know, it happened. The Aftermath book came out so long ago.
Like a decade.
And it's like Wedge Antilles,
Mr. Bones,
Snap Wexley, and Nora Wesley, and
Mr. Bones,
and that ISB agent that's fantastic. And like, you know, maybe you don't exactly retell the books, but it's like, you know, Mon Mothma, Masa Maida, like being charged in Coruscant, like, or being forced into a treaty and like officially, you know, dissolving the Empire. There's just such great stuff in there. And then Ray Sloan,
Gallius Rax,
Hux, Gallius Rax. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, it's such a great trilogy, and it's just like underserved. And I don't know. Good. I would love to see it in live action. It's like, I mean, honestly, it's kind of that's not true. But and I'm like, I was going to say it's a sequel trilogy that maybe a lot of people wanted, but it's oddly devoid of the big three. Like they're not.
Yeah, you get a little bit of Han and Chewie in it, a little bit of them showing up, but not much at all.
Talk about Luke doing stuff. It would be weird not having them. Leia mysteriously absent for a lot of it too. It's mostly Mon Mothma is kind of the main person, but that's cool, right? Like, who doesn't want more?
Stock has never been higher. Yeah. So, no, I like that idea. Those books are so funny. Just that first book reminds me of like being on an airplane, because I think I flew from here to California to Hawaii back, and I think I read that book like on the plane the entire time. So very good memories of that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That sounds like a great time.
It's so funny because like you say that, and I know we weren't pitching like prestige shows, but it's like, and you know, I pitched my like Clone Wars show a bunch of times on this podcast, given that like I feel like our understanding of the Clone Wars just comes from the animated series and what we get in Attack of the Clones and beginning of Revenge of the Sith, and we don't really have a really interesting, compelling, sort of complicated and mature sort of prestige show that explores the war and the commentary and the themes involved with that. I just don't think we have that, and it would be a really fun piece to add to the sort of entirety of the showcase of that era of the timeline.
I was actually expecting it on your top 5. I thought for sure.
Well, we weren't doing shows. We were doing more.
No, but I thought you were
doing like let's take over the box office. Let's have a huge weekend, right? Like we're trying to. You know,
I think you're right. It's better served as a show. Yeah.
So I think it's almost a show, and then but like to your point with the Aftermath, I'm like, I would love a prestige show that's like Ray Sloan gets the reins of the Empire, and she has to like figure out what this is at this point. Like,
Operation
that would be
Cinder?
a great just like Ray Sloan after the Aftermath books start.
Yeah.
Like, I almost like that's a prestige show to me.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Like,
it's a great spiritual follow-up to Andor, right? Like, it could be told in a very similar way, very real worldy. Yeah, very much political.
Like,
I'm pretty sure she'd go right after Aftermath. She gets sent to Exegol.
Yeah, but I want that. I want her, meeting the corpse of the Emperor and being like, "What is going on?" I'm not about this. I'm not about
he
this.
Looks a little rough around the edges, but trust us, he's coming back, baby.
Okay. Don't look too close to his fingers. It's fine.
The forecast is constant lightning all day and ash, like this ash storms. Like, this is not where I want to reside.
Yeah. It's like, oh, great. Is there a pool?
But like, maybe it's Breaking Good for Ray Sloan, like the show. That's almost like what I would like to see.
Yeah,
I know she's in Squadrons, and they probably do something there, but it's like, who cares? Do something totally new.
Yeah, and hers would be a path where she does a bunch of terrible stuff, but she hates every minute of it. Yeah. She was in a bunch of books, not just the Aftermath book. She was in she was featured in A New Dawn, which is the second book that came out under Disney Lucasfilm.
Right, I forgot about the book.
Which was probably in production before that sale, but it's a prequel to Rebels. But it's a very good book and good wrestling stuff in there.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Surprised you guys didn't list the Dr. Evazan Pandabapa movie.
I love it.
I want to know their story.
I know that drive people to the box office, but I love it.
Yeah, saw Star Wars, like, well, but I mean, like, it took me 15 minutes to come up with 15 like titles, so like I'm sure there's more, but I mean, there's all this fertile ground that's just like, just make one of these, like, commit, just like make a good compelling Star Wars that people are there's already a built-in fan base ready, dying to hand their money over to you to watch these things.
The brand could rise up from the ashes and be stronger than it ever was if it just kind of executed on one of these big tentpole ideas. I think they're just sitting right there. It's kind of crazy to me that they're. Honestly, Sean Levy's an incredible director. I'm sure he's going to deliver a really fun, huge, hugely successful film. I'm just worried about the Star Wars. To me, used to sort of like inspire with its world building and its scope, and I just worry if we just focus on starfighter combat and that be like the big intention of the movie, we're not going to get that scope and that overarching myth that I think we all were inspired by in the first place.
I'm sure it'll be a very enjoyable film, but I'm not quite sure what it's doing, but hey, who knows?
Right. Indeed.
And I don't know where Mando and Grogu is, what that is doing, given that it's sort of in this in-between era of the timeline where it's we know what happens after, and we knew what happened before, and we gotta deal with Thrawn. We have to basically do this like pseudo heir to the Empire thing, and I'm just like, what are we like?
It's like 20 years in a galaxy that's 5,000 years of stories, and it's like, I don't know.
Right. Well, they started down this path, and it's like the tail wags the dog a little bit.
What if Thrawn wins and takes over the galaxy? Oh wait, he can't. He has to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
You can't ask these questions before walking in. It's just the answers. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if they had saved him for a new Jedi Order, though, I don't know how old.
See, they could. They could. They can't do that either because they already used Purgles to send him to like a distant galaxy and save him for another. Like, they can't do that again. Like, they can't cryo freeze him for another to be re-explored later down the timeline.
He could just escape.
Redundant.
He could escape. I mean, he's wily. That's like one of his things. And then, but I mean, again, like, so he goes back to the Chiss, he pulls them all together, and he's like, you know what, I'm just taking over this.
I like him coming back as the villain for Rey. I love that idea. I just think it's redundant, which is sad. It's like you almost can't push him off to the side for any amount of time again.
Right. Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of them. I mean, between the novels and Rebels and now Ahsoka, it's just like he's there, and it's not like a new threat. You're like, oh, it's this guy again. Like, it wouldn't hit like it needs to hit for a really existential.
He's missing that like cunning that I know, like that I the Zahn has sort of written into his character, which is like when he's just like aerial bombarding Ahsoka on their wolves, like as their wargs or whatever they're riding towards the castle, the fort of the witches. It's like, is that really the tactics of Thrawn, just to like bombard you? Like, I think he would have more cunning things set up, like a bunch of zombie soldiers and aerial bombardment. Did not feel like Thrawn to me. I feel like Thrawn to me is someone who like is 5 steps ahead of everyone. And
yeah, he's already like repurposed some device that's like a dog whistle for those wargs, and they attack each other. It's that
right there. What you just said right there is like more of what I'm thinking. You just nailed it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I don't want to go after Filoni too hard about this because
no, I don't know
what his life is, but it's like, no, we all read all those Zahn books and they're ridiculously good, and like that's the meat for me. It's like his tactics. It's like that. It's like, you know, Red October or something like that. That's what I think about.
Like Tinker Tailor with him, right?
Yeah. All of that, you know, is the kind of degree to which he is, and it's just like his big gambit was like, time is on my side, and it just like
I think you said that a couple times.
Squadrons, and he's like, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave because I have you beat on time, and it's like, well, okay, all right. I don't know. I feel like he's not wrong. It's just like that was your big thing. Like like, his tactics are the showpiece. Like that's the whole. Yeah, that's why Thrawn is awesome. But and this was just kind of
we have to see how he returns to the galaxy and what he sets up for Hera and the New Republic and sort of attacking them.
Sure.
I think he's going to leverage the witches. He's like, you know, they're a tool, and like
I never saw that coming. I think that's like it's almost like a separate element. I don't know if Thrawn ever really needed the witches. Well, although I love the witches, don't get me wrong. I love the Dathomiri. It's more of like, do they even need him? And like, it was just a little confusing. And why is he now affiliated with the undead? He's very like undead Thrawn at this point, and I just don't know. He's not undead himself, but like people around him and the mysticism. It's like he's very much dark magic Thrawn, which I'm like, it's like Dr. Doom. He's like half magic, half technology, and I'm just, I'm interested to see how they pull that off.
I don't want to go after Filoni either, but he has his favorites, and he finds his ways to get his favorites into everything he's telling sometimes, and he loves those witches, which I do too. But here's the thing: I think he's a wonderful storyteller. I think he tells excellent stories for certain characters. I'm just gonna say it, I think he's bad at writing Thrawn. I think he's bad with Thrawn, and I feel like I'm sorry. I'm just like, take Thrawn away from him, please. Someone else.
No,
sorry.
He's the only one that either had this is like this is a good full circle here. It's like, he knows about Thrawn. He knows how cool Thrawn is, and he's always wanted to write him. And so he does it, and they let him, and it's like, fine. So it's like, I think I just want a new voice other than like Filoni's now made like half of everything I've watched in the past, like, I don't know, 10 years. And
he's made more Star Wars than Lucas has at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, I just want to hear another voice in there.
Yeah. Same.
His devotion to Lucas is a little frightening to me. I almost think like Lucas, like in a lot of the behind the scenes stuff I see, is just like, go ahead, just do Maul stuff, do Ahsoka stuff. But it feels like Lucas is like, here, take this stuff and go make some brilliant animated stories with these characters.
Yeah,
I don't think Lucas was like, hey, like why don't you place your bets on all these characters and have the entire brand sort of lean on them? Because I just don't think that is what Lucas was his intention in the first place. I think it was like, hey, just create a few fun stories with these people, and then
here's an area you can
move on from these characters,
build and learn and expand yourself. And then I feel like you got stuck
because this whole thing is like, it should always be new. Like the next thing should be totally different than the last thing, and it's like, Filoni went from Rebels to Ahsoka, and it's just more Rebels.
It's more Rebels.
But the funny thing is, he started to do that. If you think about like Mando season 1, like he was, and because it was a Favreau, he was telling different types of stories, and he was getting out of there. And then suddenly it just started getting more and more back into stories he's telling before. Yeah.
Right.
We really weren't going to go after Filoni, and then we kind of.
Well, I do like some of the Bo-Katan. I like
Ahsoka. I like his characters.
No, I like his storytelling. It's great.
Yeah.
I like his, Lucasian sort of tendencies. I think Star Wars needs that, but it needs other things too.
It does.
But Well, we'll see. We'll see what we get next. it'll be Mandalorian, and we'll see what goes on. But we're always getting announcements as far as what's in development, and hopefully we'll get another exciting announcement sometime soon. Not exactly sure what we're doing next week. We will talk about it, and but we'll be here. I'll tell you what, there's nowhere I'd rather be than is in the cantina with y'all.
I'm sure we have a backed up mailbag and news and all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
I can do. Yeah.
There's news. There's also we can say our final goodbyes to the High Republic, because the last couple of comics will have come out by then. I think this Wednesday, the Marvel Comics High Republic, the end or whatever finale is coming out, and then we have the 2 High Republic Adventure or High Republic.
Adventures.
The last 2 issues. So we have stuff. We got stuff to talk about.
We'll talk about all that stuff. So
awesome.
Thanks very much for listening to us. We greatly appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week in the Cantina on Cantina Chronicles.